Here we are, early July, and we're now watering our lawn every day. We irrigate it out of this pond. We have a submersible well pump down, it's hanging off that rope right there, just to keep it straight up and down. And that pump is set up on some timers, just some inexpensive timers that will handle they're not really inexpensive, but they can handle the power that draws. So our system basically has a 3/4 inch hose that comes out of the top of that, so it's flexible. Comes up and it ties into a underground line that goes up to a manifold up by the shop. That manifold, I think it's an 1.25 inch line, I think, if I remember right. And then it goes into on the manifold, and then it feeds out on 1-inch pipes. So the backyard's not done, but right now I just have I think it's 5/8 hoses feeding 3 sprinklers. So I have, from the manifold up the shop, there's one line that comes down here, and it's tied into these. So this is just, I mean, it sprays this whole yard and let it run for about a half hour every morning before brightness. Before the sun comes up. Take you up to the shop, show you what the controller looks like. Climb that hill. Jeez, getting old. So up here at the shop, we have just this controller right here. It's on a regular timer. It's an analog timer. You just flip those little things out there for what time you want to turn on. And then this is an override button here, so you can override, like right now I've got overriding it. Turn that off, turn off those sprinklers. And then we have another system up here at the house. So the backyard here, there's 4 sprinklers on this yard. And they are ran off of another pump, same kind of pump, but we have a crane dug well up here. A crane dug well is a 6-foot hole. They dig it with a clam shovel. It's called a clam shovel, I think. Anyway, right here, 45 years ago, when I was very, very young, my parents dug this. The neighbor guy had a crane. He was a bridge operator. He built bridges. You know, he had a crane at his house, and it was always at his house. So he came up here with his clam shovel, and he digs a 40-foot, about 35-foot hole down in the ground that is 6 foot in diameter. Okay, so imagine where that white pipe is. That's the middle of the hole. It goes down 35 feet, and then they set concrete rings in it down in the hole. The concrete rings have holes in the side so water can go in, and then they surround the whole thing with rocks. And then they put a concrete lid on the rings. So there's, I think, 3 or 4 rings down there that are 4 feet tall, stacked on top of each other to fill this hole. And then they put the concrete lid on it. The concrete lid has a hole in it. That bigger white pipe is sitting in the lid, and it comes straight up. And then you backfill the rest of the hole, with your dirt and rock and whatever. And then you have an ability to run a pipe all the way down. So on the bottom of that, there again, just being held up by a rope, and that picket there, it's not very heavy. And then that's a 1-inch pipe coming up. I just have that small T, and it comes up and it feeds into this 3/4 inch hose, which then goes into the pump house via the spigot that I can reverse flow on. So right now this line goes out to the shop. This line is feeding the yard, and this would be to tie into the house system, but that's shut off, and the shop is shut off. So right now I can pump water out of that well through this 3/4, then it goes up to a 1-inch. But anyway, this 3/4 inches, that's the smallness. Listen to me. That's the bottleneck of this whole system is 3/4 inch. But I can run 4 sprinklers off of that, no problem, with this pump. And there again, It's all on a timer, analog timer. This is a single plug-in, but it will handle 15 amps. And there again, this one's set at for every 30 minutes. Each one of these little black tabs is 30 minutes. And then it also has the override. We also have one of those on our koi pond, so it runs. It doesn't run all the time, but it does run every day, and the system just turns it on and off. Anyway, guys, that's how we do it. It's cheap. It's not a matter of putting in a great big manifold system. I'd like to put a great big manifold system in, but over the years and years and years of living, here, and just stuff added here and there, for me to add manifold system in, I'd have to do a lot of digging. From here out, around 250 feet of digging for more pipe. This just works. Anyway, guys, have a great day.